Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this morning. Got a great show lined up. We'll get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. Everybody check out all the programs they have to offer you right there at the corner of Baldwin Road and Highway 77. High today is going to be all the way up to 80 degrees, low tonight 63, and the temperature on the water is right at 71 degrees. So everything's happening. I talked to John before I came on air. He said just a bunch of bait fish all over the pier, and that's because that water temperature has really moved up. Take a look at our river readings. River readings at Bluntstown. It's dropping out. It's 8.2, and take a look at the. That's going to be the nicer weekend. It's going to stay pretty level for the weekend. And the Apalachicola, that was Apalachicola. Now the Choctawhatchee at Caryville is 7.9. Okay. Now let's go ahead and do. I got a marine forecast here. Let's go ahead and do a marine forecast. Winds is going to be south wind at about 10 knots, seas 1 to 2. So that's going to be a great day to get out on the water. All right. Let's take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn Funeral Home. When carrying counts. Okay. Today is the Wednesday, the 24th, and we have a really sort of a halfway, what I call a half neap and half dropping out, because all morning now it's going to be flat. But right after lunch, it's going to start falling out on the 24th. It's going to have a good fall there, and it's going to be low about 5:47 this afternoon. But a good afternoon falling tide, and this weekend looks like some really good tides too. Okay, now every Wednesday morning, I like to call down on the east end of the viewing area and talk to Captain Blair Morgan. This spot brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers. All kind of stuff there, Blue Water Outriggers. These rod and reels will be given away today and all week. They all come from Blue Water Outriggers. We got a good buy on those at a tent sale. Good morning, Blair.
Good morning, Winston. How are you today?
Hey, buddy, I'm doing well. What's going on down on St. Joe Bay and Apalachicola Bay?
Well, I tell you what, over here on St. Joe Bay, the trout bite is really good. Redfish are biting good. The flounder, there's plenty of Spanish over here. Just everything's really going on right now. The wind's been blowing every day, as you know, for about the last month, and it's kind of hindering the surf fishing a little bit. But the few people that's fishing, they're catching some scattered pompano. But normally the water needs to be fairly clear for the pompano to really come in good, and the surf can't be just pounding like it has been. So as soon as it settles down, they're going to really turn on good. I hadn't heard any reports of anybody catching any cobia over this way yet.
Really?
But, no, I haven't heard a word about the cobia. But everything else is going good. The Apalachicola Bay, the direction the wind's been blowing in, it's been staying pretty muddied up most of the time.
Okay, Blair, let me ask you this. I guess it's been too rough to guys on the east end down there to go out grouper fishing.
Well, yeah, it's open in Franklin County,
right.
But it's not open to the west over in Gulf County. But it's just been blowing too hard. I mean, it's been blowing every day. Over around Caryville, you can go out maybe 5 or 6 miles and catch them, but over here you have to go out further than that. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, if you're going to go fishing this weekend down in your area, where would you recommend going?
But it depends a lot on the weather and kind of what you want to catch. But like I said, if the wind will lay down, the pompano's going to be running the beaches. There's plenty of Spanish everywhere, and the trout bite out here in the St. Joe Bay is just excellent right now. So
all right.
Just go get what you can.
All right. Well, that sounds good, Blair. Good report, buddy.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Captain Blair Morgan with Blue Water Outriggers. Okay, let's go ahead and take our first break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and welcome Captain Ken Paramore.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Always great having him on. We got so much stuff.
Glad to be here.
We're going over the list, and I don't know if we have time to get it in, but let's get started. We're wrapping up turkey season, right? It's wrapped up.
Wrapping up. It's done. It was over Sunday, and I'm thankful.
You just told me some numbers now, but I want to hear this. Folks, you appreciate this.
It was a first for me, but yesterday I was so wore out from the turkey season. I counted up the days, and I counted up that the turkey season was open 37 days, and I went 23 of those mornings out of the 37.
That's dedicated.
And that's at 3:45, 4 o'clock during those mornings. It was some work days, so I went into work after I got done.
Yeah.
I managed to kill one turkey, and my son, who was with me one day, killed a turkey. So out of 23 trips, we killed 2 turkeys.
Okay.
So I don't know, that's a low percentage, but
that's still nice. So you got them, but it's wrapped up and it's over.
Yeah, it's over with. It was a lot of complaints from people about the gobbling activity and the cold and the wind. To me, it was the coldest and windiest spring gobbler season I can remember hunting. Yeah. It just lasted for days. We hunted days it was in the 30s.
And they were confused about what, because it warmed a little bit. I heard all the turkey hunters saying the same thing. They got confused.
And some days you'd go and wouldn't hear any, and days that you'd hear 1 or 2, they'd hush about the time they got on the ground. It was just, it was one of those. But the pursuit, I mean, it gets in your blood, and you get addicted to it, and hearing that gobble and that challenge to get to him is what keeps pushing you.
Yeah, that's right. So, now, we had a relatively safe season, but we did have a couple of accidents.
There was 2 in this region, which is our northwest region that I remember. There weren't any in this area. I think they were both to the east of here. But 2 different instances where 2 different hunters were hunting with a partner or someone else and either mistook the person for a turkey or went to a hen call and saw movement and shot, but 2 people were actually shot with turkey loads and got treated. Nothing fatal, but they had injuries, and it was negligence on the hunter's part. So we did have 2 turkey-related hunting accidents this spring in our region of the world.
Wow. So, fortunately, it was nothing fatal, like you said. But
no,
you just got to be careful.
Could have been worse. But and we went through most of hunting season over this way without any hunting accidents, but we had 2 during turkey season, so you never know.
Okay. All right, so hunting is over with
Turkey's
right now.
over. Obviously, as Blair said, it's time to start fishing. People are getting their boats ready. Hopefully the wind will quit blowing, and people can go. I do know that they're catching Spanish, cobia. The people I've talked to, compared to the last few years, the cobia are running a little bit more, and they're bigger, you know, 20, 30, 50, 60 pounders. Guy I work with has caught a couple, and one guy I worked with, he caught a 62 pounder out of Destin. So they're running large, and you hear complaints or information about it, when it's flat, unless you have a tower, they're hard to see. If it's, a little bit rough and rolling, you don't have to, because you can see them, coming down in the swell of the wave, and you can sight fish them that way. So I guess it depends your fishing style, whether you like it to be a little bit rough or a little bit calm.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy the other day that knew somebody was on the 12th floor of a condo off the beach, and he called up his buddy. All the boats were fishing on the outside of the outside sandbar, or the second sandbar, and from that 12th-story condo, he could see the cobia, and they were just off the first. So the boats were on the outside going by, and he could see cobia in between the 2 that the boats didn't know about. So
I guess you have a little network of condo owners maybe all down the beach and all that. Maybe if you're telling me you're going to bring them a mess of
get on the phone
cobia. That's good.
So,
I hadn't heard about that. Okay, let's take this break and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Sitting here with Captain Ken Paramore. We're going to show some pictures, and we're going to get into boating safety. Brought all kind of good stuff and all. But Ken, I know this is not in our region right here, but this first picture is over at Fernandina Beach, and they gigged some redfish. There's 33 gigged redfish. They gigged them illegally. Of course, they caught them and confiscated.
Now, if you look at that picture close, and those 3 people that are in the picture, they got badges around their neck or on their jacket. And last time I was on, I talked about our new Resource Protection Unit, which is a group of guys and girls that work in plain clothes.
Yep.
I think this is a result of their efforts.
Exactly. That's a great job there. And they confiscated the boat. They kept the boat, and I think it's fine. The guy had to spend some time in jail, plus $4,500 fine. Okay. One more turkey picture. Last one of the year. Dixie Joe Gay. Dixie Joe. She's an outdoor girl. Now, she graduated last year to the last day of turkey season. She got her first gobbler. So she was tickled. He sent a picture there.
I heard a couple of the last day after
Dixie Joe.
many days of not hearing.
Here's an 80-pounder, Mark Bostler, Bush Cardenas, a nice 80-pounder. I've got another picture of 80-pounder coming in, Blue and McCurdy and those boys got. Check this out. Caught them in a kayak this past weekend. This is Womack Brothers. Nice job. Both of them got one. That's two nice cobia there. They look about 35 or 40 pounds. And pompano. Mitch Coleman sent this pompano to me. This is Jimmy and Robert. They are fixing it. This is at Mexico Beach, Saturday afternoon. Nice pompano there. All right, let's jump up here to Tennessee. Y'all remember Bobby Graham. This is Bobby Graham's grandson, and they got into a mess of fish. Bobby's moved back up to Nashville, Tennessee, and he's fishing those lakes up there. And Ken, that's a nice mess.
Those speckled perch. There's not a hardly better eating fish than those speckled perch.
I'm telling you. Okay.
Crappie.
I love them. Okay, now we are right in the middle of getting ready, and boating safety. We always talk about this time of year and the importance of the safety part.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes it seems redundant, but once a year I try to, right before the boating season, we try to talk about the importance of boating safety with as many boats that we have on the water, and the accidents that we've already had 2 accidents in this region that resulted in fatalities last month. One was on the Choctawhatchee River, and one was over in Okaloosa County. And in both instances, and of course we'll never know, but in both instances, I think the victim, if they had been wearing their life jacket, might have survived. And you have to wear it for it to do you any good, particularly if you get knocked out of the boat, or you're knocked unconscious, or you get addled enough to where you're under, and you drown. And so, with that said, to encourage boating safety, I have a piece here today to talk about dive flag awareness, which is tied to boating safety and human safety, obviously. But I wanted to show too, and I do this every year, so bear with me. But
no, this is good stuff.
I wanted to show how the life jackets have evolved from the big cumbersome wearable horse collar type jackets to these small, they go around your waist type, that you wear them like a belt. They have a pull cord. When you pull it, it has a air cartridge inside that inflates, and then you just put it over your head or your neck, and they're not hot because you don't have all that over you with the heat. And then if you want one that is wearable that you put on over, it's still small and light. It's not like the big orange ones that we used to have. And they're affordable. They're not as cheap as the orange ones. But if you spend a lot of time on the water, and you don't want that thing around your neck for hours and hours, but you can put one of these around your waist and never know it's there. You can't feel them. So life jackets have come a long way.
Yes.
And
those cartridges are replaceable, right?
There's replacement cartridges. There's, I think all these are manual, but there's an automatic one that has a dissolvable tablet in it, and when it gets wet, it triggers it and inflates on its own. So you don't even have to pull the cord. You have to wear them for them to count towards your number on the vessel. You can't stow these and have them count. You have to have them on.
Okay.
But they've come a long way. They're really worth it. And
your officers are just mandatory with them, right?
They have to wear theirs, and theirs are inflatable, automatic inflates that they have to wear when they're on duty, anytime we're on the water. And you get so used to them, you don't know they're there. And we had a boating accident in the Keys last month. One of our officers went overboard and was hurt, and they attribute him wearing his jacket to. Because it'll float you and it'll float your face up. So it's possibly saved his life.
Wow. That thing too, you're talking about the cold weather up here and cold water. Just a shock up in here sometimes in the wintertime, this past spring, talking about how cold it was. Well, that's really dangerous right in itself.
And you think that when you hit that cold water, I guess it startles you so bad that if you go under, and it's the last one we had on the Choctawhatchee River was at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And so, the water's dark, it's cold, Yeah, it only takes a few seconds, I guess, to get disoriented and drown.
Yeah.
If people wear their life jackets at times, I think we would have a lot less fatalities than we do statewide annually.
Oh, yeah.
Then.
All right, and okay, and diver's flag. You were mentioning about diver's flag. We got the poster right here.
Right. There's a new diver's flag awareness campaign that's started for this spring and summer, and it's just to remind boaters about the distances that they should stay away from and honor dive flags when they're displayed.
300 feet now. Talking about 300 feet, and that's about the length of a football field. And that's what, yeah.
Now, if you, I don't know if you can see in the picture, but there's an asterisk by that 300 feet, and if you go down the bottom of it's some state regulations vary.
Yeah.
So, in the state of Florida, it doesn't mean that it's a no enter zone. It doesn't mean because the flag is up that you cannot enter within 300 feet. It's not an absolute. Some states, I believe, it's a prohibition. In the state of Florida, it says if you must or do navigate within the 300 feet, the boat has to be at idle or below, which is the slowest the boat will go to be able to maintain steerage.
Okay.
So you have to obviously come off plane. Your boat would almost have to be in close to neutral in order to motor inside of that 300 feet. So it's not a prohibition. Some people get it mixed up that you can't come in here because you're within 300 feet, but you do have to go in there at a certain speed to maintain steerage, which is really low, before you can enter.
Okay.
And it's just to be aware of the divers, but there's some responsibilities for the divers too.
Okay.
They need to stay within the distance, I think it's 100 feet of the flag themselves, and not get way out.
And that really, especially we're going to talk about
during
scallop season. People they just lose track of it.
They do.
I find myself doing that coming up sometime. My boat's way over there. I start swimming back. Let's take this break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. We're going to do our fish and game forecast, and we're going to get away to rod and reel. So let's look at our times, okay? Our times brought to us by Mark Cowart, Edgewater Beach Realty at 832-6000. Any of your real estate needs between Carabel and Destin, give Mark a call. We only have one time today. It's dead in the center of the day, 11:39 to 1:39. Excellent time around lunch. That's when our tide is starting to move around a little bit, so that's interesting doing that. All right, Ken, we've been giving away one of these a day for the whole week now.
That's a good one.
That's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah, that'd be a good mackerel and pompano from.
Exactly. So I'm gonna let you do the honors.
Oh, okay.
So try to get somebody out here that hadn't won. John has been bad about getting people won a lot of stuff. So try to get somebody that hadn't won one. All right. Now you can register anytime. Getting registrations every day, folks. All right. And the winner, it has not won this year, but a good fisherman, Nat Harris, out there at Panama City Beach. Good job, Nat. Glad Nat watches your show every morning, loyal viewer. So Nat, there's your rod and reel right here, buddy. All right, thank you, John. Now, we got all that taken care of. We want to talk also about the big bass. So you brought this on last time, the trophy catch bass.
Actually, yeah, it was, I think last September, October, when the commission was just unveiling it, and they didn't even have the literature out about it or the word out about it yet. But this trophy catch program that we've put on or sponsoring, obviously, is a good deal. And like you said, you had a picture on the other day of a fish that
14.4 pounds.
Yeah, that'll rival any fish you're gonna catch anywhere in the state of Florida. As far as
you win all kind of prizes, then you're gonna be in a drawing for a big old bass boat and all, and it doesn't cost anything. So it's a great situation. We've been really pushing it the month of April. So this is our last big push this month and all.
And it's tied to our commission and our biologist efforts to improve the bass fishery, to study the bass more, to get data from those fish, and look at or tweak or kind of the same thing they're doing with deer. A lot of our species are getting kind of a revamp with the studying, do we need to make any changes? Do we need to adopt or change any of our regs to manage fisheries and wildlife compared to the way they were, 20 years ago? So a lot of our species are getting looked at differently and seeing what can be done better.
Okay.
So,
all right.
And this is part of it.
All right. Now each month you try to bring on a case of the month.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. We got a couple minutes left. Let's see.
And then we talked about turkeys earlier, and I guess I could have talked about it then, but it's not kind of like the cases that I mentioned the last couple of months, but it's a case that Officer Hank Forehand and a new officer in Liberty County, Mitchell Mims, were working turkey hunting, and they found a couple of trucks parked in a place that would have hunting, and they walked up to the truck, and there was bags of scratch feed in the back of the truck. Clue number one. So they parked their truck, and they walked into this wooded private hunting lease and got up to an open field, and they heard turkeys yelping. Mm-hmm. So the officers kind of split and went, because there was yelping on one end of the field and there was yelping on the other end of the field. And so they walked around to where the yelping was, and they soon determined after they listened for a while that it wasn't turkeys yelping, it was people. And two people had left the truck with the scratch feed crack corn in the back, went in there and set up on the field. So they hunted for a little bit, and finally the officers approached them, and the field was covered in scratched cracked corn. And so both of those guys had gotten on each end of that field and were attempting to call turkeys into. And usually, you know, when a place is baited, you don't have to call them because they're used to coming. They're coming. But luckily for the turkeys, they didn't show up that day, and unlucky for the hunters, they both got tickets for hunting over bait.
So. Good. It's amazing to me how it's amazing.
It's every day of the week somewhere.
I guess that's your job, though.
It's what keeps you going.
Yeah.
That's what we got into this business for. Yeah. So.
And we're gonna do. We're about to run out of time now. We're gonna do a show next week on fish, outdoor ethics and all, and just maybe not breaking the law, but just being rude to people and that's a big. I know y'all experience some of that too. So.
Yeah, we live in a world. We need to get along.
I know it. Well, we're gonna run out of time. Ken, thanks as always.
Enjoyed it. Had a pleasure.
Always really good stuff from Captain Ken Paramore. Folks, also thank you for watching the show. We appreciate your viewership. You do something good for somebody today, and God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.